All right, so we all know Forrest Fenn, right? Forrest Fenn, I have been told, was not a teetotaler. I thought he was actually. I didn't know Forrest Fenn drank, but I was brought to the realization by people who made it very clear to me that people who have met Forrest Fenn, he drinks, and I guess he's had a beer with people or whatever. Why am I bringing this up? Because I want to give you an idea of what witnesses who were there at the time on the plane and before Dan Cooper got on the plane, what the traits that we know that Dan Cooper had. Okay, Dan Cooper was a drinker. He liked to drink bourbon and soda. I think on the flight he had 2 drinks of bourbon and soda. Now people told me, Fenn would drink too. Okay, fine. I don't know. Was he a bourbon man? Was a bourbon man? I don't know. But there's more to it than that. That's a small thing. Oops. Oh, shit. Oh, good. Here's a description of here's the FBI wanted poster of D.B. Cooper. Showed him with both glasses on and glasses off because he was seen by witnesses glasses on, glasses off, not just sunglasses on. So people saw what he looked like and they saw his eyes, okay? He was in his mid-40s. I think that checks out, kind of like Forrest Fenn. He was white, male. That's, 5'10" to 6 feet. I think that's probably going to be pretty close. That's the timeline. No, it's not. It's just that they're very similar builds. 170 to 180 pounds. I don't know. Forrest Fenn to me, always when he was a young man, looked like a pretty thin man, but I don't know. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Complexion. This is the Forrest. This is the FBI poster. We're looking for the guy at this point, right? Complexion of Dan Cooper, miscalled D.B. Cooper by the press, and the rest of us are still calling him D.B. Cooper. Complexion, according to the FBI, olive, Latin appearance, medium smooth. I guess that means his complexion is medium smooth. Olive Latin complexion. Is that Forrest Fenn? I don't think so. Hair, dark brown or black. Normal style, parted to the left, combed back. Sideburns, low ear level. Eyes, possibly brown. More about this later. During latter part of flight, put on dark wraparound sunglasses with dark rims. So the famous sunglasses we see over and over in pictures, he didn't even have those on until later in the flight. I'm thinking maybe contemplating jumping out. He wanted something to protect his eyes from the cold and the wind, because that was going to be bad. Voice, low, intelligent, no particular accent. Okay. Here's a good one. Yeah, everybody thinks of Forrest Fenn as a big chain-smoking guy, right? No. Characteristics. Heavy smoker of Raleigh filter tip cigarettes. He left 8 cigarettes on that flight. They found 8 cigarette butts on that flight that were later lost, because they were hoping to get the DNA, but they were lost. But it had already been reported that they cleaned up 8 cigarette butts where he had been sitting. Is that Forrest Fenn? Do you think Forrest Fenn actually went and just smoked 8 cigarettes to throw off the Forrest Fenn Chase hunters, of 2021 or 2020. Yeah, they'll never know it's me because they know I don't smoke, so I'm just going to smoke 8 cigarettes and fool them. Folks, come on. The guy was a heavy smoker of Raleigh cigarettes. Forrest Fenn didn't smoke, period. What else we got here? Okay, then they get into his what he was wearing. So, that was the poster. That was the poster. Forrest Fenn. Later in the flight, he ordered a second bourbon and soda. So Forrest Fenn is apparently decided at this stage of his life. So Forrest Fenn is apparently decided in 1971 that he's going to break with all of his characteristics, and he's going to hijack a plane. He's going to jump off the plane, but he's also going to become a chain smoker just for the duration of, I assume, just for the duration of the hijacking. He's going to start smoking Raleigh cigarettes. And also, he's into bourbon and soda. I mean, someone said, no, a couple of people, Eric, oh no, Forrest Fenn, he drinks. But all I ever heard was he was like drinking like a beer or wine or something. I don't know. It doesn't matter, folks, because it's all bullshit. And Forrest Fenn is not Dan Cooper, misidentified as D.B. Cooper by a stupid journalist who couldn't even make a distinction between the guy who got on the plane and a suspect the FBI was looking at. Okay. Authorities interviewed eyewitnesses in Portland, Seattle, and Reno. A series of composite sketches were developed. Okay, it goes into all this about how this is where it talks about how a local reporter named James Long, rushing to meet an imminent deadline, confused the eliminated suspect's name with the pseudonym used by the hijacker. That's where he mixed up a suspect with Dan Cooper, and the suspect's name was D.B. Cooper. So for eternity history, we don't know Dan Cooper by his real name when we discuss the D.B. Cooper hijacking. We're discussing a guy who didn't even do it. He was just a suspect who was eliminated as being a suspect. So they found 3 major pieces of evidence. They found a black clip-on tie. Did Forrest Fenn wear clip-on ties? Oh my God, someone needs to check that out. Did Forrest Fenn even wear ties after he got out of the Air Force? I thought he was like totally against that. He wanted to wear his hush puppies and stuff, So they found a black clip-on tie, a mother-of-pearl tie clip, and 8 filter-tipped Raleigh cigarette butts. Forrest Fenn, the chain smoker. Yeah, we all know that Forrest Fenn was a big smoker, right? He loved to smoke cigarettes. People, quit falling for the bullshit. Give me a break. It's all a bunch of bullshit. Okay, here we get to the really good stuff. Yeah, here it is. I love this. Suspect profiling. The official physical description of Cooper has remained unchanged and is considered reliable. Flight attendants Schaffner and Mucklow. They give their names. Flight attendants Schaffner and Mucklow, who spent the most time with Dan Cooper, were interviewed on the same night in separate cities and gave nearly identical descriptions. He was around 5 foot 10 inches tall, about 180 pounds, mid-40s. Are you ready for it? With close set, piercing brown eyes and swarthy skin. Let me repeat that. Can we bring up a picture of Forrest Fenn, please? Does this picture look like A man with close-set, piercing brown eyes and swarthy skin. Swarthy, for those of you that may not know, means dark skin, like maybe a Latino person, or a Middle Eastern person, or someone in Greece or something. Let's go back there and just let's read that one more time. So the next time you log on to or you tune into one of these stupid channels pushing this absurd notion that Forrest Fenn was D.B. Cooper, remember what the people who were with him on the plane said. Separate witnesses said to the FBI. He had close-set, piercing brown eyes and swarthy skin. I don't know how much more clear it can be. It's not the same people. It's not the same person. D.B. Cooper, Dan Cooper, is not Forrest Fenn. Doesn't look anything like him, according to the people who were with Dan Cooper, okay, on the flight. God. And I think I even saw someone made a comment, because they talked about on one of the channels, they talked about, well, they're saying that Forrest Fenn, because he's got blue eyes, but we don't really know if this guy had brown eyes. And someone said, or he could have been wearing contacts that colored his... God, how hard you have to try to just not deal with reality. I mean, talk about confirmation bias. Jesus Christ. Yeah. Forrest Fenn was on the plane, and maybe he put some little bit of makeup on to make his skin look a little darker, and then he put in some contacts to make his eyes look brown. Do you know how stupid that sounds? Yeah, but we're still able to watch people talking about Forrest Fenn. It's, this is all I got going on in my life, so I'm going to just keep watching him. Go for it. But I can tell you the views are dropping and the subscriptions are going to drop, because if all you can do is talk about Forrest Fenn, which is over, your channel's going to end up being nothing. Just find something else to talk about. It's not complicated. Well, Eric, you're talking about it now. Yeah, because I don't like people bullshitting people to make money. The snake oil salesmen back in the Old West. Remember those guys? They would run those guys off, tar and feather them. Remember the snake oil? Do you know what I'm talking about? There were guys who would come through town. They would make an elixir that was supposed to help you, get healthy and make you feel good. This is back in the Wild West, right? This guy would come through with a wagon, and he'd, you've probably seen the old Western shows, and every once in a while on a Bonanza or Gunsmoke or something, they have one of these, the snake oil salesmen in town. And there actually is snake oil made in China that is supposedly, maybe even does have some medicinal properties. Excuse me. But this was a con. These are charlatans. These are con men. And they would put together these very, very cheap elixirs in a bottle of, God knows what it was, probably water with a little bit of sugar and maybe some herbs or cinnamon and some little bit of cheap whiskey. And they would sell it like for 10 times what it was worth to make, make these little bottles up of health elixirs, snake oil, going to make you feel wonderful and all that. And of course, all it was a cheap buzz and cheap liquor. And the women, especially in these Western towns, hated it because they just saw their husbands going off and spending money on basically liquor. And they would sometimes run these guys out of town. I mean, they weren't looked favorably upon when they came through town with their elixirs that were just bullshit and hardly did anything for you except give you a small buzz. And, tar and feather them. Tar and feather? Hot tar in your skin and then feathers? Whew, that would be bad. Run them out of town. Just for the record, between 1971 and 2016, the FBI processed over 1,000 serious suspects, including assorted publicity seekers and deathbed confessors. Not one of them was Forrest Fenn. The FBI never occurred to anyone to go look for Forrest Fenn, because Forrest Fenn is down in Lubbock, and all he had his mind set on at the time was Indian artifacts. Does that sound familiar? That's Forrest Fenn. He's down there in Lubbock looking for Indian artifacts, chain smoking Raleigh cigarettes, and drinking bourbon and soda, and had brown eyes and swarthy skin. All right, folks, that's all I've got about that. I'm going to address one more thing before I go, but for right now, that's what I've got for you. And we're going to talk about other things. I will do the thing about, why am I wrapping it up? I'm not wrapping it up yet. It's because I'm going to do the next segment. It's going to be on a different camera. So, everybody, why am I doing this? Okay, we have another part coming up. That's what I should be doing. We have another part coming up, so stay tuned.